Coogs House. On Monday, a subtle Big 12 story dropped, and I think it's about to change the game so much we had to give you a bonus episode to talk about it.
You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Coogs, a podcast about your Houston Cougars. I'm your host, Houston-born teacher and coach Parker Ainsworth. And whether you're a Houston fan or just a hater who came to step by, thank you for making Locked On Cougs your first listen of the day. Appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day here at Locked On Cougs. If you're enjoying the conversation, we don't say, tell us in the comments down below what your favorite drama was. We've asked that question before. It was particularly pertinent today. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Best place to get the last minute, it's the lowest prices guaranteed. But major news dropped on Monday, and it kind of went under the radar. So, got to make sure we talk about that, and then what it does for Houston. So, the big picture story in this is TNT is losing the NBA and shuffling things around. ESPN is giving TNT, or Warner Brothers, I should say, Warner Brothers Discovery, which has TNT and TBS and so on, will get 13 Big 12 football games and 15 men's basketball games a year starting in 2025-26. It's part of shifting the Inside the NBA TV show from TNT or from Warner Brothers to ESPN. The trade back is these 13 football games and 15 men's basketball games. This means that those 28 combined contests will be on Warner Brothers channels, TNT, TBS. Might even see them on Max, online or whatever, right? This is all in an effort to fill the hole that is left at Warner Brothers by the NBA. And for what it's worth, I think there's a lot of speculation and a good chance that you see NBA level professional sports caliber broadcasting to kind of frankly keep the people employed that are already employed, right? They already have that level of professional working there. They might not have as many because it's just 28 contests, not a full NBA season, right? But I think that it stands to reason that's going to have a high quality product at TNT Warner Brothers. It gives the Big 12 a fourth TV partner and a much wider net for their broadcasting, which is a lot more ammunition and things like that to restructure these deals in 2031. Now, the Big 12 was already the only power league that had both ESPN and Fox deals. The Big 10 uses Fox. The SEC and ACC both use ESPN. I'd argue that's probably why you hear so much about the SEC on ESPN, right? If you haven't got the jig on that yet, what they're doing is they're telling you about the stuff they're going to show you because they paid so much to show it to you in the first place, right? And so, anyway, you have that whole thing happening. And the Big 12 is like, okay, we're going to get a little bit of ESPN, but we're also going to get a little bit of this, and we get a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And the Big 12 continues to expand that footprint across all of it. Now, there's not any present tense money shifting. Part of the deal here is it's going to be, Warner Brothers Discovery is going to be paying for it just like ESPN was paying for it. They're just paying for the Big 12 as opposed to inside the NBA. I would argue those 13 Big 12 football games are pretty valuable relative to NBA basketball games, especially regular season basketball games. I only think about like the hierarchy of sports in America. College football is really, for all intents and purposes, number 2, not number 4 or 5, right? I know, basketball takes a lot of social media air and content, and I love basketball. But truthfully, it's not as watched as far as a per game basis, right? College football is a big deal here. I think the bigger deal here, though, as we work through this next few minutes, is the basketball side of this, the college basketball side of this, because we understand that Yormark has spoken at length of being a big college basketball person, right? This is a big deal to him. He sees college basketball as the future between football changing and college football changing and NIL deals shifting allegiances and so on. And also the games are just crazy long and so on. He's not necessarily saying that the Big 12 won't have good football. I'd argue it's incredibly exciting football where anyone can win on any given Saturday, right? That's a positive of the product, no matter what certain networks will tell you. But but Big 12 is the best basketball conference. I know I say that after Houston just lost to Auburn the other day, but across the board, year in, year out, Big 12 puts out, and it's kind of the gauntlet that tears itself apart, right? And the Big 12 has this great basketball conference, right? Well, your mark has talked in the past about bifurcating the conference TV rates, meaning you would get this company would get football, this company would get basketball, this company would get everything else, or Olympic sports or what have you. I always pause. I always hate the Olympic sports metaphor because basketball is also an Olympic sport and it should get lumped into that as well. It's always football, basketball, and the Olympic sports, when it should just be football and Olympic sports. Anyway, time back in. I think that you'll see though that across the board here, this is getting ready. This is a domino in all of this. Like if you were to look back in 2031 as to how do we get to where the Big 12 has so many different TV deals in place, this would be a major milestone getting towards that, because Warner Brothers Discovery, TNT, TBS are NBA basketball savvy as a company. They understand the marketing, they understand the characters, they understand the show, and frankly, while they're having to sell inside the NBA to ESPN, the making of that show, it's a work of art. It's won Emmys, etc. And TNT's built that in the past. Now it'll take time to get as good a show, right? Because part of the deal that made Inside the NBA so great, the chemistry. But honestly, the same kind of characters in the pre and post game show could easily be happening for the 15 men's basketball games that they're getting on TNT and TBS and Max and so on. Right? There's no reason they're not going to construct something around it. And frankly, they know that works. That's the model. They didn't lose the NBA because they didn't want it. They lost the NBA because the NBA didn't want them. Right. And that's a distinct difference in this. They went out and got 15 of the best basketball games they could get at the next thing down. Right. Now, 15 great college basketball games would be a lot of fun for them as well. We also know that Warner Brothers has March Madness, TNT, TBS, True TV, that all those channels you're always looking for in March. That's something they already have. This also, while it's losing inside the NBA, is a chance for a company that has the rights to March Madness to add 15 more college basketball games in the world's best college basketball conference. I'm telling you, that's no accident. That's no throw in. I understand this is not more money in the immediate future, but that's a sign that Warner Brothers, TNT, TBS are trying to be a leader in that space. Can we get the best college basketball on Turner, or on Warner Brothers Discovery, I guess I should say now? And they start with Big 12 hoops for that. In 2031, if we're going to really bifurcate deals and really separate things out and give football to them and basketball to them and Olympics to them and all those kinds of things, it stands to reason that you're going to have a large bid coming in from Warner Brothers Discovery, who just lost a large basketball thing about a half decade before that, right? This is going to continue. This is going to be a bidding war, and adding more people to the bidding war is a good thing. How that helps Houston's going to be a leader in this space. Houston's built a basketball program that's going to stand the test of time, because we're passing it on from Kelvin to Kellen to so on. It's going to continue. You got the hotbed of recruits in your backyard. You've gotten to where you're national as well. You're pulling guys from Idaho at this point, 5 stars from Idaho coming to Houston. It's just going to keep on growing. And I won the conference in the first year. It's going to win the conference many more times. Houston is going to be one of the faces of whatever the basketball network is. It feels increasingly likely that basketball network is something we now know. It's either going to be ESPN, Fox, or now Warner Brothers. And I'm telling you, Warner Brothers appears to be making a real play at this. And if they want to get out of basketball completely, they wouldn't be bringing on 15 more basketball games. They would be shuffling off March Madness, right? Now, will they use the 15 games and try and get the 15 in February in the Big 12 tournament and get it leading up right to March Madness? Would be dumb not to. But regardless, this is a big deal. And if you're going to watch this play out of the future, I'm telling you, in 2031, whatever decision gets made between now and then, I'm aware that future of the Big 12 television dollars are spent, or I guess are earned, I should say. This is going to be a landmark deal in it. And it's kind of just been written about in the entirety of all the sports business writing and stuff, like FOS and all those kind of things, as like a throwaway line that they're swapping these 28 games total for inside the NBA. It's crazy to me that with all the reconstruction of football conferences and stuff like that, that we're throwing away this line about TNT and Warner Brothers. They get 28 Big 12 contests. Just bananas. Now, I want to tell you, make sure if you're talking about things being just bananas, Game Time is a place to get bananas prices on your tickets. The lowest prices guaranteed. If you find lower prices somewhere else, same section in a row for your concert, comedy show, football game, basketball game, you're going to one of the TNT games, whatever the case may be, go to Game Time, show them that. They'll give you 110% back in credit on the Game Time app. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets today with Game Time Picks. Download Game Time app, create an account, using code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply again. Create an account, redeem code Locked On College, LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time.